Authorized police records. Factual video evidence. Raw enforcement. This is bodycam incident reports.
Not so fast. Step back inside. What's in the bag?
Hey, scan and go. The receipt is on my phone. Look.
I watched you the whole time. I never saw a register. Put the bag down.
That's the point. You scan it. Please just read
Stop
the screen.
resisting. Turn around. Hands behind your
I'm
back.
not resisting. You grabbed me.
She showed a receipt.
Officer Garrett Sterling had been working the security detail at the scandalous upscale market Provençal Provisions in downtown Chicago for 6 years. He was a 20-year veteran of the force, a man who carried himself with the heavy, suffocating weight of authority. In those 6 years, he had stopped 42 shoppers. 38 of them were black or Hispanic. He called it proactive policing. He called it trusting his gut. He called it protecting the merchandise. The management called him efficient. The local community called him a terror. But nobody called him what he truly was. A man who saw criminality inherent in melanin, a gatekeeper who believed that luxury spaces were not designed for people who looked like Maya Jenkins. On a rainy Tuesday evening, everything about Garrett Sterling's unchecked reign at Provençal Provisions was about to collide with a force he wasn't prepared for. Maya Jenkins had just come off a 12-hour shift. At 25 years old, she was the youngest junior sous chef at L'Oubli, one of the city's most prestigious Michelin-starred French restaurants. She was tired, her feet ached, and she smelled faintly of garlic and thyme. She was wearing her comfortable oversized gray hoodie, black leggings, and worn-out sneakers, her standard commute gear, to hide her chef whites. She had stopped at the market on her way home because she needed specific high-quality ingredients for a recipe she was testing for the new autumn menu. Saffron threads, imported truffle oil, aged Parmesan, and vanilla beans. Expensive items. Small items. Items that to Officer Sterling didn't look like they belonged in the basket of a young black woman in a hoodie. To Officer Sterling, Maya wasn't a culinary prodigy. She wasn't a hard-working taxpayer. She was a suspect. And that assumption was about to ignite a firestorm that would burn through the police department, the corporate retail world, and the court of public opinion. Before we dive deeper into this story, where are you watching from? If you've ever felt judged based on your appearance, let us know in the comments. And please hit that subscribe button. Stories like Maya's are happening every day, and we need your help to expose the truth. Provençal Provisions was a cathedral of consumption. Located in the Gold Coast neighborhood, it was the kind of place where classical music played softly over the speakers, and the lighting was designed to make the produce look like jewels. It was a store that prided itself on frictionless shopping. They had recently introduced an app feature allowing customers to scan barcodes with their phones, bag items as they shopped, and pay digitally without ever standing in a checkout line. It was designed for convenience. But for customers of color, it was a trap. Maya loved the store for its selection, even if she hated the way the security guards tracked her with their eyes. She had developed a strategy: move fast, keep her head down, buy what she needed, and leave. She didn't browse. She didn't loiter. She knew the rules of engagement for being black in a white space. On this particular Tuesday, she was in a rush. The menu testing was tomorrow morning. She entered the store at 8:15 p.m. She pulled out her phone, opened the app, and began her circuit. First, the cheese section. She grabbed a wedge of Parmigiano Reggiano. Beep. Scanned. Into the reusable tote bag on her shoulder. Next, the spice aisle. A small jar of Spanish saffron, $18.99. Beep. Scanned. Into the bag. Then the baking aisle. Madagascar vanilla beans. Beep. Scanned. Into the bag. She was focused, checking off her mental list. She wasn't looking around. If she had been, she might have noticed Officer Sterling standing by the floral display near the entrance, his arms crossed, his gaze fixed on her. Sterling watched her. He didn't see a shopper using technology. He saw a young woman walking through the aisles, picking up small, expensive items and dropping them directly into a personal bag. He saw the phone in her hand as a prop, a decoy. "Look at that," Sterling muttered to a store clerk stocking shelves nearby. "Think she's slick. Grab and go. Not on my watch." The clerk, a teenager named Jason, glanced up. I think she's using the app, officer, the new scan and go thing. Sterling scoffed. Yeah, right. That's what they all say. She's boosting the high-ticket items. Watch the body language. She's nervous, moving too fast. Moving. Maya wasn't nervous. She was exhausted. She just wanted to go home, shower, and sleep. She finalized the payment on her phone as she walked toward the exit. The app displayed a large green check mark and a QR code, payment successful. Exit pass generated. She walked toward the automatic doors, the heavy tote bag slung over her shoulder. She was 3 feet from the exit when a heavy hand clamped onto her upper arm. Not so fast. Maya froze. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a sudden violent reaction conditioned by years of seeing news headlines about encounters just like this. She turned slowly. Officer Sterling towered over her. He was a large man, thick-necked with a buzz cut and eyes that held zero warmth. He wasn't wearing a standard security uniform. He was in his full police uniform, working the paid detail. The badge, the gun, the taser, it was all there. "Sir," Maya's voice trembled slightly. "Can I help you?" "You can help yourself by stepping back inside. We need to have a little chat about the merchandise in that bag." I paid for this." Maya held up her phone. The screen was still bright with the confirmation code. "I used the app, Scan and Go. Here's the receipt." Sterling didn't even look at the screen. He looked at her face. He looked at her hoodie. He looked at the way her hair was tied up in a messy bun. "Save it. I've been watching you since you walked in. You put the cheese, the spices, and the oil in that bag. I never saw you go to a register." "That's the point of the app," Maya explained, her voice rising in desperation. "You don't go to a register. You scan it on your phone. Look, please, just look at the screen. It lists everything. Saffron, vanilla parmesan." Sterling gripped her arm tighter, his fingers digging into her bicep. "I told you to step back. You're making a scene." "I'm making a scene. You grabbed me." Maya tried to pull her arm away, a natural reflex to pain. That was the trigger. "Stop resisting," Sterling shouted. The phrase echoed through the cavernous store. Shoppers froze, heads turned. The ambient classical music seemed to stop. "Put the bag on the counter now." He shoved her toward a nearby customer service desk. Maya stumbled, catching herself on the edge of the counter. Tears pricked her eyes, hot, angry tears of humiliation. She placed her tote bag on the counter. "Empty it," Sterling commanded. "Let's see what you tried to steal." "I didn't steal anything," Maya cried out. She looked around for help. A few shoppers were holding up their phones, recording. Nobody stepped forward. They were spectators at her demolition. "Ma'am, empty the bag, now. I'm not going to ask you a second time." Maya's hands shook as she reached into the bag. She pulled out the cheese, the truffle oil, the vanilla beans. One by one, she laid them out. "See?" she said, her voice cracking. "It's exactly what I said." Sterling picked up the jar of saffron. "This is $20. You expect me to believe you just walked in here and bought $50 worth of gourmet spices on an app. You got a receipt for this." "Oh, yes, on my phone." Maya reached for her phone, which she had placed on the counter. Sterling slapped his hand down over the phone. "Don't touch that. I need to verify your ID first. You look familiar. You've been trespassed from here before." "What? No, I've never been in trouble in my life. I'm a chef. I work at L'Oubli." Sterling laughed. It was a cruel, dry sound. "A chef? Right. And I'm the mayor of Chicago. A chef in a hoodie stealing spices. You know how many times I've heard stories like that?" "It's not a story. Check the receipt." "I'm going to check everything," Sterling said. "Turn around. Put your hands behind your back." Maya's blood ran cold. "What? Why?" "Detainment for shoplifting and disorderly conduct. You're shouting, you're resisting, and you're failing to comply with lawful orders." "I am complying. I just want you to look at the proof." Sterling didn't wait. He spun her around. He grabbed her wrists and wrenched them behind her back. The metal handcuffs clicked a sound of finality. Tight. Too tight. The cold steel bit into her skin. "Officer, please." Maya sobbed, her composure shattering. "You're hurting me. I didn't do anything. Please just check the app." "We'll sort it out downtown. Sterling said, leaning close to her ear. "Maybe then you'll learn you can't just walk into a place like this and take what you want." At that moment, the store manager, a nervous man named David, came running over. He had been alerted by the cashier. "Officer Sterling." "Officer, what's going on?" "Caught a shoplifter, Dave. Caught her red-handed, bag full of expensive stuff, trying to use the old phone app excuse." David looked at Maya. He saw the tears streaming down her face. He saw the handcuffs. Then he looked at the phone on the counter. The screen had dimmed, but he tapped it. It lit up. "Payment successful. Total $84.50 items. 7. David scrolled down. "Saffron, truffle oil, parmesan, vanilla." David's face went pale. He looked at Officer Sterling. "Garrett, wait. Wait for what? I'm booking her." "Garrett, look at the phone." David turned the screen toward the officer. "She paid. It's all here. The transaction time is 8:28 p.m. That was 5 minutes ago." The silence that followed was heavy and suffocating. Sterling looked at the phone. He saw the green check mark. He saw the itemized list that matched the goods spread on the counter perfectly. A rational person would have apologized immediately. A professional would have unlocked the cuffs and admitted a mistake. But Garrett Sterling was neither. He was a man whose ego was inextricably tied to his badge. He had just made a scene in front of 50 people. He had handcuffed a woman. To admit he was wrong now would be to admit he profiled her. He didn't unlock the cuffs. "The machine could be glitched," Sterling grunted. "Or she used a stolen credit card. The system doesn't verify ownership." "Officer," David whispered, realizing the gravity of the situation. "Please, uncuff her. She paid." "I need to run her name," Sterling said stubbornly. "She was resisting. She was disorderly." "I was not resisting." Maya screamed, her fear turning into a white-hot rage. "I was trying to show you the receipt you refused to look at. Take these things off me." Sterling hesitated. He looked at the crowd filming him. He looked at the manager, who was visibly sweating. He looked at Maya, who was no longer cowering, but standing tall in her indignation. Slowly, reluctantly, he fished the key from his belt. He unlocked the cuffs. He didn't say sorry. He didn't offer a hand. He just stepped back. "You're lucky the manager is feeling generous," Sterling muttered. "Get your stuff and get out, and don't come back here causing trouble." Maya rubbed her wrists. There were deep red indentations where the metal had been. She looked at Sterling with a look that would have withered a lesser man. She didn't gather her groceries. She didn't pick up the saffron or the vanilla. She picked up her phone. She took a photo of Officer Sterling's badge number. Then she took a photo of his face. "I'm not taking the groceries," Maya said, her voice eerily calm. "I want a refund. Process it now, David." "Ma'am, I can just give you the items. Really, it's..." David stammered. "I don't want anything from this store. I want my money back, and I want the corporate number, and I want his name written down on a piece of paper." She walked out of Provençal Provisions 5 minutes later, empty-handed, humiliated, and bruised. But as she stepped onto the rainy sidewalk of the Gold Coast, Maya Jenkins wasn't just a victim. She was a woman with a mission. Do you think the store manager did enough? Should he have intervened sooner? Let us know in the comments below. Maya didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the handcuffs. She heard the snap of the metal. She felt the eyes of the strangers judging her. She went to work the next day, but her hands shook while she was plating a scallop dish. Her head chef, a stern but fair Frenchman named Jean-Luc, noticed immediately. "Maya, your knife work is sloppy today. What is wrong?" Maya broke down. She told him everything. She told him about the spices, the hoodie, the handcuffs, the accusation. Jean-Luc listened, his expression darkening. "They treated one of my chefs like a criminal for buying ingredients. He didn't believe I was a chef." Maya wiped her eyes. "He said a chef in a hoodie, right?" Jean-Luc took off his apron. "Go home, Maya. Rest. I know a lawyer. He is a shark. He eats men like this officer for breakfast. You are not going to let this go." The lawyer's name was Marcus Thorne. He was a civil rights specialist who had spent the last decade suing the Chicago Police Department. He sat in his office listening to Maya's story, watching the video footage that a bystander had uploaded to TikTok. The video had gone viral overnight. Title cop arrests chef for shopping while black. It had 2 million views. "This is actionable on so many levels," Thorne said, tapping his pen on the desk. "False imprisonment, assault, battery, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and violations of your civil rights under Section 1983. But I want more than just a settlement for you, Maya. I want to know about Officer Sterling." "He said he's been watching me," Maya said. "He acted like he does this all the time." "That," Thorne smiled grimly, "is exactly what we're going to find out." They filed the lawsuit 3 weeks later. Jenkins v. City of Chicago, Officer Garrett Sterling, and Provençal Provisions. The response from the police union was predictable. They claimed qualified immunity. They released a statement saying Officer Sterling acted in good faith based on reasonable suspicion of retail theft, and that Maya had been combative. But Thorne was relentless. He subpoenaed Sterling's disciplinary records. He subpoenaed the security logs from Provençal Provisions. He requested body cam footage which Sterling had conveniently failed to activate until after the cuffs were on. When the files arrived, they painted a picture of systemic targeted harassment that was more horrifying than even Thorne had anticipated. Garrett Sterling wasn't just a bad apple. He was a rot that had been allowed to spread for 20 years. The discovery documents revealed 42 documented stops at the grocery store in 6 years. Stop number 4 involved a 60-year-old black grandmother accused of stealing vitamins. She had the receipt in her hand, but Sterling claimed she was fumbling. Stop number 12 was a Hispanic college student detained for 45 minutes because Sterling thought his backpack looked suspiciously heavy when he had textbooks in it. Stop number 29 was a black doctor still in scrubs, stopped because he was buying baby formula and diapers. Sterling accused him of credit card fraud because the name on the card was Dr. Washington, and Sterling didn't believe the man was a doctor. In every single case, the suspect was innocent. In every single case, the individual was a person of color, and in every single case, the store management had signed off on the incident report as resolved. No theft occurred, but never filed a complaint against the officer. They let him stay. They let him continue. He was their attack dog, Thorne told Maya as they reviewed the files. They wanted the store to feel exclusive. Having a cop who harassed minority shoppers was a feature, not a bug. But the most damning piece of evidence wasn't in the files. It was in the deposition. 6 months after the incident, Officer Sterling sat across from Marcus Thorne in a conference room. He looked bored, annoyed that he had to be there. "Officer Sterling." Thorne began, his voice dangerously calm. "In your report, you stated that Ms. Jenkins exhibited criminal behavior prior to the stop. Can you define specifically what behavior was criminal?" "She was moving fast." Sterling shrugged. "Looking around, avoiding eye contact. Is moving fast a crime?" "It's an indicator." "Is looking around a crime?" "It's suspicious." "You stated she put items in her bag. Were you aware of the store's scan and go policy?" "I'm aware of it, but criminals use it to mask theft." "Did you see her scan the items?" "I saw her playing with her phone." "Playing with her phone, okay." Thorne leaned forward. "Officer, you said to Ms. Jenkins, a chef in a hoodie, right? Do you recall saying that?" "I might have." "Why did you doubt her profession?" "She didn't look like a chef." "What does a chef look like, officer?" Sterling hesitated. He realized the trap too late. "She was wearing street clothes. She looked unkempt. She was wearing a $120 designer hoodie and running shoes. But let's be honest, officer. When you saw a black woman in a hoodie, you didn't see a chef. You didn't see a customer. You saw a criminal. Isn't that right?" "I saw a suspect based on my experience," Sterling snapped. "Your experience involved stopping 42 people at that store. 38 of them were black or Latino. All of them were innocent. Is your experience actually just racial profiling?" "I enforce the law." "No, officer. You enforce your bias. And on that Tuesday you put handcuffs on a woman who earns more in a year than you do, who is buying ingredients for a Michelin-starred restaurant simply because you couldn't imagine a world where she belonged there. The video of the deposition, specifically Sterling's fumbling inability to explain why he stopped only black people, was leaked. The public outrage was immediate and volcanic. Protests erupted outside Provençal provisions. The hashtag #HadBoycottProvençal trended globally. The city of Chicago, realizing they were defending the indefensible, pushed for a settlement. But Maya and Thorne weren't done. They demanded non-monetary terms. They wanted Sterling gone. The settlement was announced on a gloomy Monday morning almost a year after the incident. The terms were historic, a $3.5 million payment split between the city of Chicago and the parent company of Provençal Provisions. Officer Garrett Sterling was fired from the Chicago Police Department, his pension frozen pending a review of all his previous arrests. Provençal Provisions banned the use of armed police officers for store security and implemented a new customer respect policy requiring mandatory bias training for all staff. The CEO of the grocery chain issued a video apology to Maya Jenkins, admitting they had failed to protect her. But for Maya, the victory wasn't the money. It was the letter she received from the state attorney's office. Due to the pattern of conduct revealed in her lawsuit, they were reopening 15 criminal cases where Sterling's testimony was the primary evidence. Maya Jenkins stood on the steps of the courthouse, flanked by her lawyer and her head chef Jean-Luc. She looked different than she had in the video, stronger. "I didn't ask for this fight," she told the bank of microphones. "I just wanted to buy vanilla beans. I just wanted to do my job. But Officer Sterling didn't see me. He saw a stereotype. He tried to humiliate me to make himself feel powerful. Instead, he exposed the rot in the system." Dinna, she paused, looking directly into the camera. "There are thousands of Garrett Sterlings out there. They are in our schools, our stores, our hospitals. They think their badge gives them the right to decide who belongs and who doesn't. Today we proved them wrong. Today we reminded them that dignity is not something you can handcuff." Maya used a portion of her settlement to open a non-profit culinary school for at-risk youth in the south side of Chicago. She called it the Open Table. It was a place where hoodies were welcome, where creativity was nurtured, and where no one was judged by how they looked, but by what they could create. Garrett Sterling lost his badge. He lost his reputation. He was last heard of working night security at a warehouse in a different county, stripped of the authority he had abused for decades. But the scars remain. Maya still hesitates when she walks into high-end stores. She still feels her heart race when she sees a uniform. Money doesn't erase trauma. This story forces us to ask a difficult question. How many careers? How many lives? How many innocent moments are stolen every day because of the silent, pervasive assumption that blackness equals suspicion? Officer Sterling didn't just make a mistake. He made a choice. He chose to trust his prejudice over the evidence. He chose to escalate rather than listen. And the store manager chose comfort over courage by staying silent for too long. We have to be better than that. We have to be the ones who speak up when we see someone being targeted. We have to be the ones who pull out our phones, not just to record, but to intervene. We have to challenge the idea that security requires the humiliation of our neighbors. If you believe that no one should be criminalized for shopping, if you believe that prejudice has no place in our communities, drop a comment below with the hashtag #HatICU. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will keep bringing you these stories until we don't have to anymore. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and stand up for each other.
This concludes our analysis. For ongoing access to verified footage, please like and subscribe. Thank you for following Bodycam Incident Reports.